All right, what's up, guys? I'm Connor Ferguson here with Damon Helgevald, ready to recap the dirt racing weekend. And this is the Always Race Day podcast. I screwed up the intro again, Damon. Just vintage me already a couple weeks back.
Rookie mistakes.
Absolutely. Without further ado, we're going to get into everything. We'll wait a little bit for people to join. The biggest news of the week, though, it's Monster Jam World Finals week. Got a rep Avenger. I'm so excited. Chasing another freestyle championship, Jim Kohler. So good luck to him this weekend.
Yes, that was on the top of my watch list for this weekend.
Dude, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna be poolside by the 4th of July. We're gonna have a little TV out there, try to catch some of the action. So it's gonna be a good time.
God bless you.
It's the 2 weeks of the year that I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So thanks for the comment, Eric. Appreciate it. All right, now the biggest news. And I should have figured out my camera before the show started. I don't know which way to go here so the light's not in your guys' eyes. But High Limit is going to have a 410 sprint car race live on national television on Flow Racing for the second night at Eldora that Thursday evening. The Joker's jackpot pays $100,000 to win. 2-hour TV window with Chase Rodman, Blake Anderson, Tony Laporta on the call. That was the big news from the release, but talk about massive news for sprint car racing, Damon. I've said it on the show many times, like, you got to get your product on TV live. The tape delay doesn't do anything. If it happened 2 weeks ago, that's not getting my interest as a casual sports fan. But when you tell your friends, like, hey, this product that costs $150 a year, if you want to watch it regularly at minimum, you can now watch it for free, at least for one night. And I think that's a really, really big draw for the casual sprint car fans out there. What about you?
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. You've got the fact of we saw a lot of people draw in on the dirt series that has come on FS1 the last couple of years, and it's drawn a lot of big numbers. And I think, like you said, you've got to get your sport in front of the mainstream fans and not do it when it's not a good time. I mean, you think about some of the times that we're sitting here watching CBS Sportsnet and it's 10 o'clock at night, flipping through channels, and that's when you happen to run across a Lucas Oil late model race, right? This is live. It's different. We saw what happened with the Cars Tour at North Wilkesboro. It was live on FS1. Big deal. I mean, that drew a lot of fans to that. So I think the same can be done here on the dirt world. For me, I think it's going to be big because you look at it as a fan who is – you're pulling two ways at this point. You know, the Cars Tour thing, you pulled the NASCAR draw because you had Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick both on the broadcast. This one, you pull the NASCAR draw as well. It's a high-limit race, middle of the week. You know, Larson's going to show up. Probably a good chance Christopher Bell will be there as well. So you throw those things in there, and you're going to draw a bigger crowd, in my opinion, to not only to the track, but also the live TV side of things. I'm curious to see what the numbers do, and even more curious to see how it's broadcast and presented.
Yeah, and I think the Kreitz Racing team confirmed that Christopher Bell was going to be there already. I think I read that the other night. But that being said, with that, you know, tell your sprint car friends to flip that on and make sure you have it on Fox Sports 1 if you're not there. I know people are going to want to watch it through Flow, and I'm guessing Flow wouldn't like that. I'm encouraging people to watch it through FS1, but like that's how you grow the sport, is make that TV number as big as you can. And don't also, like, we're going to find out the ratings 2 days after or something like that. Please don't overreact in my comments to the TV ratings if they're bad. Like,
I think it's going to
get what you can get.
You mentioned Flow not being happy about it. I think it's two-way street. That's part of the reason why they're doing this, is they're trying to help promote the sport. And in turn, there's people out there who don't have Flow who are going to go and get it because of this now. You know, there's people out there that are the casual fan. They're not a diehard fan. They're not someone who watches every night, every race, every weekend. They're going to go get Flow now because of they happen to turn on FS1 and watch this sprint car race go down, especially if it's a good race, which we've seen hundreds and hundreds of times. There's a good chance where there's going to be more people drawing interest on this.
Yeah, and that's the goal, right? That's what this was made to do. And I know there's some pushback on having a TV race and what that does to the fans, to the people actually there in the stands, and different breaks you have to take. What I'm telling you guys, it's a 2-hour TV window. They're going to be quick and speedy with that format. They know what they're doing. And I bet you that race gets over in that 2-hour window, or at least, 5-10 minutes bleeding over. And that's a huge deal too, because I know that used to drag out shows back in the day, because they'd run the heat races with a cushion and then they'd come in later, or the first couple mains and nationals or whatever it was way back when, over a decade ago.
Well, that's part of the reason that they don't have live TV shows on cable network, right? It's the same reason they don't on the drag racing side. I know we're bleeding a little bit, but the fact they don't have as many live rounds of drag racing, because it just takes so long. It's a 4 or 5 hour show that they're trying to fit into a at max 2-hour window sometimes, right? So that's the same situation we're running in here. Is we're trying to fit in a 4 or 5 hour show into a 2-hour window, and you're talking, let's hope to God we don't have anything that takes that away. Don't
make me get into a rant bringing up drag racing needing to be live. Don't make me do it. Not on this show. I think we're going to do an episode of the Pavement Show coming back tomorrow night as well, just so everyone's aware of that. We're going to try to keep this one on Monday nights. Some days it might, or some weeks it might be Tuesday. Either way, we're going to try to go live when we record it.
Aren't you glad we went Tuesday this week?
What's that?
Aren't you glad we went Tuesday this week?
Yeah, now I am. A lot better news to start it off than what we had from yesterday. So, I'm amped for this. I can't wait to see it. And we'll actually probably do, we're going to try to set it up that we do kind of a watch along, at least for the back half of, the A main and afterwards. And then after the broadcast is over, you guys can flip to us and we'll sit there and dissect the race in real time, and do it that night instead of King's Royal night, like we had talked about. So we'll see. I got to convince Josh to come over to my apartment to do that. So that will be one battle in itself. But the other news, quick fine news. Carrie Madsen was fined $1,000 by the World of Outlaws and placed on probation for the rest of the season for coming out on the track during a closed red flag during the Houston Cybank Nationals. It also said he, quote, physically abused and pushed 2 track officials. So that's cleanup fine there. And then I'll just say the other one. We can react to both at the same time. But Jason Myers, crew chief, team owner, the number 14 car. Don't know why I even said 15. But fined $500 and same placed on probation for the remainder of the season for making physical contact with a World of Outlaws official in the work area during the week at Houston. It's pretty, I don't know, I'd say small fines. I'd say like I get on leagues all the time because I've seen it happen in the arena leagues growing up. And other, when Stenhouse got fined is a perfect example of just like, we're fining to make money off the drivers now. Like, what is this? I like those fine numbers for those punishments.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the severity or extent of them, so I'm not someone who probably should sit here and criticize or agree with. But the numbers don't mean a whole lot, I guess. They're not big numbers. They're not outrageous. So apparently it wasn't a severe crime, I guess, is the way I look at it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Just slap on the wrist and, keep moving forward. And I'm guessing if you do something on probation, it probably doubles it, or, I don't know.
Something becomes an issue, but
hopefully we don't have to talk about that the rest of the year. I don't love talking about penalties like that.
Right.
All right, let's recap the weekend. David Gravel and Carson Macedo were World of Outlaws winners at Cedar Lake. What did you think of those results? And I wasn't shocked obviously you're not shocked anytime gravel wins, but not shocked to see either of those guys in victory lane.
Yeah, not shocked to see either one of them win. In fact, it was a pretty uneventful weekend with the sprint car stuff. We can kind of dive into the races themselves, but if it wasn't for bad luck in some situations, Gio Scelzi would have no luck. I mean, led majority of that race the second night, and then cuts a right rear down with I think 7 laps to go or something like that, and ends up having to relegate to the back, which, again, bad luck, no luck. Which one would you rather have? I guess some points, but Macedo needed a win, I think, is the best way to describe it. Right, the guy in that team really needed to win. It's been a little bit. They've had good runs, but we talk about gravel all the time. He's winning, continuing to extend the points lead, do what he wants to do up front. But I think the bigger story here was the fact that Macedo needed a win just to stay a little bit relevant if the points were to happen to fall back to him a little bit. I know it's a number now, 200 plus for him sitting in third, but you never know with these deals.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think you summed it up perfectly, and still feel so bad for Gio. They're going to find some luck at some point here. And you guys saw how strong he was at Knoxville last season. That weekend could be really big for KCP Racing. I'm excited for it to get here. Other side of the sport for sprint car racing, Sunshine takes home $25,000 with High Limit at the Diamond Nationals down at Lucas Oil Speedway. That's only his second one of the year. Did you realize that?
22 races in between wins, I think. Is that what I read?
I believe so.
Like that. Just wild. We know Rico's been on a tear. He's won a lot. When Larson's running, he wins a lot. When Brad Sweet's winning a lot. But when you think of High Limit, you think of a guy like Tyler Courtney up front. And I guess from my side of it for you is, how big of a win does this make it for Tyler Courtney and that entire group now?
Well, the phrase I take from college football is winning cures all, right? That anything that you're doing is, if you're winning, that's going to help whatever the situation is. If it's negative, if it's positive. But if it's positive already, and then you get a win, that can only open things up more and take the momentum further. And I'm a firm believer in momentum, right? Look at Bill Baylog. We're going to talk about Ryan Gustin a bit. There's someone I'm forgetting Tanner Thorson. We're going to talk about all those guys on this show, and it really helps. And what is that going to do for Courtney? He's in the thick of the title race. I believe it's top 5 separated by 41 points. So they're all right there chasing down that High Limit title. And to have the title race this close going into the TV race now is massive again for High Limit to have that and have that situation going into the Joker's jackpot. Whether that's do you know if they're doing points?
I don't think it's a full points race, but still it gives a storyline to talk about.
Right.
Like as a fan sitting there watching now again for Flow, here's an opportunity to say, hey, this is a storyline, right? And if you're sitting there like intrigued in points battles and things like that, now I'm going to tune in and watch next Saturday, or I'm going to tune in and watch the next night or the next weekend or whatever, because, well, like you said, 41 points from first to fifth. Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and it helps that you get the series that will mention the other national tour on the TV rather than vice versa going into that weekend. I hope Flo talks about the Kings Royal and what they do in the sport, how it's set up, there's 2 national tours. They split the 4-day weekend into, 2 separately sanctioned shows. I hope that comes up. I hope that's part of the, filler stuff that you have when there's not on track stuff going on. And either way, I think, and I didn't get to say this earlier, but I think Blake, Chase, and Tony are going to do a phenomenal job on there. I couldn't be more happy with the people they picked for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's their normal crew, I guess, right? For the most part, it seems like. So,
aside from Blake living all the way out in Skagit.
Right. So it's good to have familiarity with the groups that are going to be there as well. But like you, I think it's just going to help things, and it's going to again, we're in the business for growing the sport. This is a way to grow the sport, not just one series, but the entire sport.
For sure. And then one more thing from the weekend for sprint cars down at Knoxville. Ryan Timms passes Brian Brown on the last lap to take home that A-main win. That I believe that's his second last lap pass on Brian Brown to take a Knoxville A-main this season. So, I mean, that's just talk about circumstantial and crazy, but that Liebig, I'd say it wrong every time, so don't even don't stress about it. But
it's got to be hard to do. You know, it's hard to do when you've got a guy like Brian Brown who's good at Knoxville. We talked about it the last time we were on together, how good he is at Knoxville. And so when you talk about a guy like Ryan Timms able to not do it just once, but twice in the same season, it's a pretty impressive feat. And now it gives a guy like a Ryan Timms more confidence. And again, going back to what we were just talking about, momentum is key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 10 times out of 10. On the late model side, Nick Hoffman took home 2 out of the 3 racing nights for the World of Outlaws late models over the weekend. It was going to be 4. I think that first one in Minnesota got rained out, and a lot of the drivers seemed bummed about that. There's a lot of excitement about that track in like Fergus Falls, I think. And I think it's Minnesota.
Yep, you're right. Fergus Falls.
But yeah, Nick Hoffman ate into Bobby Pierce's points lead a little bit. It's down to 78 now.
Yeah, closing the gap. I guess for you being tight with the Bobby Pierce guy, right?
Hold on. I'm not a Bobby Pierce fan until I have 17 beers in me. I want that out on the record. I'm unbiased until that happens.
Only then, right? Only then, right. But I guess, you know, we talked about it before. Bobby does really well in the summer months, yet here comes Nick Hoffman. And he's won a couple. When you sit back and watch this a little bit, what does that tell you about the 2 programs, I guess, a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like God, I'm thinking of the cliche term to use. But it's like poetic because I got into the sport and the Hell Tour when I think the 2nd or 3rd season we had the racing site up. Bobby won a bunch of the Hell Tour races for late models, and Nick won literally every modified show. Yep. I think he went 20 for 20 or something like that. He's the only guy, him and Jet Lawrence are the only guys since after I hit puberty to go undefeated in a racing season, anything I've watched in my life. So that impressed me. And to have those 2 guys battling it out. And I don't know how close Hoffman's going to get. You know, this could be the closest he gets for the rest of the year either way. It's really intriguing. You know, I'm a huge points nerd, so it could be, 100 points and you're watching guys, cloud a little by little by little for the rest of the year. And there's still a chance. Like that intrigues me. I know some of the diehards aren't going to be as intrigued by it, but I think the biggest takeaway I have from it is how much better Nick Hoffman's got. And I'm not at all surprised because of how good he has been and everything else he's driven and how quickly he got to being at, a sustained level.
I was just about to say the fact of how quick he got to this level, right? It was, 4 years ago that he subbed for Bloomquist when he was hurt and got in that car. And, you saw the mistakes, the typical rookie type mistakes, right? But he's taken to it, and we kind of expected this. This is a guy that we've pointed out, and he's running up front, consistently ran up front last year, didn't win near as much per se. That's because Bobby Pierce, I think, won almost everything there was to win last year. But now he's starting to win some more. He's starting to put himself into the front of the spot and pick up some wins.
Yeah, absolutely. And to move on a little bit here, but to mention it, Tim McCready winning on Sunday night. Every time he wins, he celebrates like he won the biggest race of his career. And I love that. We need more of that in dirt racing. I don't want to see it. And I get it. You don't want to over celebrate if you win 17 times a year. and stand up there and rub it in guys' faces. That's completely fine. But Tim goes up there and he is just as excited as it gets, man. It is awesome to see him back in victory lane.
Always happy to see T-Mac win, and always happy watching him celebrate, because drivers tell us this all the time, right, Connor? When we talk to them, when you talk to them, winning is hard in racing. But yet people celebrate like they do it all the time. And that's what kills me. Yes, I get it. You win a lot, but celebrate it, because you don't know when it's going to be your last. And it might be your first, it might be your last. You don't know when it's going to be. And that's why I like seeing Tim McCready win. Gets out of the car, always beating the top. It's great. I love it. And to see that car fast is put one up for the old guys.
Yeah, that's one of my I think it's from the Denny Hamlin podcast. But the question being, if you had an envelope with your last race win on it, in the date of that, would you open it? And that's one of my favorite questions to ask drivers, whenever you get them. Not necessarily on the record. It's not something I ask a lot because I didn't come up with it and I don't want to just rip it. But that's always I'm intrigued by the answer to all those, because winning's special, especially in dirt racing, and you never know when you're going to get it again. So
you don't know, and that's the tough part about it. So we ready to go into you in and you out?
Yep, do it. Introduce it.
So here we go. You in, you out. Agree with the statement. You're in, and out, you disagree. Flow, FS1 and High Limits will bring more live broadcasts to dirt racing. Connor, are you in, you out?
More you're
In
talking
general.
number of broadcasts. Okay.
I'm saying in general, not just high limit racing, but this will now open the door for more live broadcasts across all of dirt racing.
I am so in on this. You have no idea. I think it's very easy to set up a live broadcast and to set up a format that is going to justify having the second night be ran super quickly with less delays and not delaying the entire night to keep fans in the stands and anything like that. I think this is going to set a precedent on here's how you do it. It's not as hard as everyone's making it sound. And it's going to be something cool to watch at the very least.
What challenges do you see from these things, I guess?
If you have a wreck, that's one. You have a 50-minute delay for track prep and the heat races turn out to be one lane around the bottom. I think that would suck. But I don't think the format's going to have, it might have heat races. I haven't delved into it. But yeah, that's what you're looking at. Long delays that are unforecasted, unpredictable, and can happen at any time, realistically. You have to think on your feet at that time. You have to promote on the fly. And you might have to scrub a driver intros, or you might have to scrub a big 4-wide fireworks show, whatever you do before the race. But yeah, that you got to be ready in case anything goes wrong and hope for green flag racing through and through.
No doubt. I'm in the same boat. I think this opens the door. I think if it goes well, which I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, if it goes well, then now as organizations, High Limit, the World of Outlaws, the Lucas Oil late models, now you can go to these mainstream media places and be like, hey, we can put this same product on as well. This opens the door, in my opinion, where I see this can able to grow the most is those midweek Flow racing nights in America. I know Flow has the title sponsor of that, and they've kind of created this, but I think this opens the door up for something similar to move live in that sense, and pretty exciting for that. So I guess we'll find out July 17th together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the next one.
All right, moving on. Aaron Reitzel, Ridge & Sons, will win the High Limit Championship. You in, you out.
God, I hate that you're making me make a prediction this early. I'm in on this. I think Reitzel's running really well right now. It's the shades of Reitzel we've seen before. He's really happy with this team. He's been with them for a long time now. And I just think they're clicking. I think he's came into his own as kind of the villain role in the sport. I love that. Even though he said bad mother effers or MFers or whatever he said at the end of that clip, every time it pops up on my feed, I laugh. Just it almost looks cringy if you haven't seen it before, and then every time it sounds more normal. And I hope there's another mic drop moment like that for Aaron at some point this season.
I'm glad you went this way because I now get the field in this sense.
Yeah, I know. It's not really fair.
So I'm going to be out on it. I was going to be out on it to begin with, I think, anyway. I think, like you said, Reitzel is putting together a career year, right? This is the Reitzel that we're used to seeing. Runs up front, wins a lot, reminds you of the All-Star days, right? When Aaron Reitzel would win a lot in All-Stars. And now, then when he would go to the Outlaw Tour, he would be very relevant in a majority of those races. I feel a lot more along those lines. However, there's still a guy driving the 24 car not too far behind. There's still a guy driving the 49 car not too far behind. Those are two guys who win a lot of races and, quite frankly, can finish races without tearing a lot of stuff up. And so I look for these next few races to come up. You see that gap. I think it was 11-10 between Reitzel and Sweet at the front. I think that number goes down. I look for a Sweet, and quite frankly, I look for Rico to make a bigger run. Yes, we saw Brad do what he did last year and kind of nickel and dime everybody to death till he won the title. I don't foresee that being the case this year. I look for Rico to come through and get that, just how fast that car is. And it's only going to get better if they continue to do the stuff they're doing. So I'm out. Reitzel will probably not win the High Limit Championship.
You're welcome for giving you all 14 of the guys behind him. There you go.
I'll take it. I will take it. Buddy Kofoid, he will make a run at David Gravel's championship. You in, you out.
Now, I like the wording of this one, so I can just say, and I think I'm just going to be in to everything. That might be a funny bit for me to do. But no, truth be told, I saw what happens when you doubt Buddy Kofoid through the eyes of Drunk Dingus on Twitter. I saw what happened. It bites you in the ass. I'm in on Buddy making a run at it. It seems like they're catching fire at the right time and getting better, getting faster and faster. You still got to outrace Gravel. That's not an easy task. It's going to take a lot of results as opposed to, what Nick Hoffman can do right now and chip away at Bobby Pierce's lead to show the other side of the world of outlaws. But so it's going to take Gravel to have a bad night or two. And we've seen him have bad nights through the, later portions of the season and have some of that bad luck. But yeah, I think Buddy can make a run.
I'm also in on this one. And when just a little bit of trivia, don't look it up because in case you actually have it in front of you. Last 7 starts, what's Buddy's worst finish?
Oh, man. 6th.
3rd.
Okay.
His last 7 starts dating back to June 14th at Knoxville, the second night at Knoxville. He's gone 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 3rd, 3rd.
I knew that later in was podiums, and I assumed there was like 1 6th in the middle there, and that
he had he had 11th place finish the first night of Knoxville. Then before that, it was 5th, 2nd, 4th, dating back to Jackson.
Yeah, they are catching fire at the right time.
That's a team that I'm in on. Whether yes, the number I think is like 183 or 187. I think is what
I was like a 220 a few weeks ago.
Right. That's exactly it. That number is just going to get smaller if this team stays on the pace that they're working on. And I'm in, man. I think he's gonna give it a good run. So switching over to the late model side of things, Ryan Gustin's Todd Cooney Motorsports team a few weeks ago let it go of their crew chief, a couple of crew guys. Since that has happened, that 19R car has been fast. Connor, you in or you out? Ryan Gustin's team is better with crew chief by committee.
I'll never be out on a in-state, an Iowa native in motorsports. I'm in on the Marshalltown guy, Ryan Gustin. I think, worst finish is 7th in the past
Correct.
Since May 17th, worst finish is 7th. So, yeah, I'm in on this. I think Ryan's a great guy, fantastic driver, and it's cool to see the results as of late. He had a couple wins earlier in the year, but I'm putting in the words of Kerry Madsen that I'd rather have podium than one win and worse results everywhere else.
Yeah, you mentioned the Iowa connection. Not only is it an Iowa driver, but it's an Iowa team. Todd Cooney's from Webster City area, Des Moines area himself, right? He's ran a lot at Hamilton County Speedway, ran a lot at the tracks across Iowa, the Iowa State Fairgrounds Speedway when it still had a racetrack. Now you team up with a Marshalltown guy. I'm right there with you. This car is bad fast, dude. It is hauling ass everywhere they go and finding ways to run up front. This is what we saw out of Ryan Gustin last year, right? Like the guy was up front, maybe didn't win a whole lot of races, but he was still in the mix for the majority of it. So this is great to see on that sense. Very happy for him. Very happy for Todd Cooney. Good people all the way around in that group. And
he's a Chiefs guy too, right?
Yeah, Chiefs guy.
There you go.
Adds more to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
got one more, right?
We got a couple more.
We got two more. Sorry,
we got two more in here before we move on. Are you in or you out having two big late model weekends, including this weekend? They take away from the product. You in or you out?
All right, so this will be unique because I'm out on this. I don't think it takes away because just due to the fact, if you're a late model fan and you had to pick the top 4 races of the year, your 4 majors, quote unquote. I mean, you're going to pick Eldora. That's 2. And you're probably going to pick PDC. I don't know what the next one would be. I got to learn that more with that side of things. And feel free, if you're a late model fan, comment what your 4 would be. But those are the majors. That's where it's important not to take away from the fields. But these guys race each other, for the full season, chasing both the Lucas Tour and the World of Outlaws Tour. And they deserve to have a couple of big paying races where the other side's not there. The American League's playing without the National League on the field, right? I think it only gives those guys more money. And I also, I'm going to piss off some late model fans here. I don't care what the car count is if you say it's a big race. Give me the top 6 predicted finishers, and I'll tell you if it's going to be a good race or not. And typically, I only need to hear 2 names, and I'll go, yeah, good race. Bobby Pierce and Nick Hoffman are going to be there. Yeah, going to be a good race. So I'm fine with it as far as the non big shows of the year go.
I get it for a sense, but you've got a weekend of 3 straight races for the World of Outlaws, right? And if I'm a Jonathan Davenport fan sitting in Minnesota where these 3 races are headed this weekend, it would be kind of cool to have them there for one of the 3 nights, but instead they're running at Atomic and then turning around and running another race elsewhere on Saturday. So, I think for me, I'll be in on this. I think it does take away from the product because if you're a fan of one driver or you're a fan of one side, then you're going to miss out on the good racing that the other side can bring, right? Like you said, you name Bobby Pierce and Nick Hoffman. Those are World of Outlaw guys. But we're completely –
that's what I was going for. Yeah.
We're forgetting about the side of RTJ, Jonathan Davenport.
Yeah. You say Ricky Thornton Jr. and Jonathan Davenport. I might give you shit about the Knoxville quote he had just because I love to bring it up. But other than that, I'm going to say that's going to be a damn good race too.
Yeah, so I think from my side of it, I want to see those guys. I want to see them race as much as possible. That's why I think you're seeing a lot more on the sprint car side where they play into it, even though their schedules clash for a few regular shows, but they're separated for all these big shows. Think about it. There's not really one big weekend, one side or the other, that they're separate. Hell, well, they're running at the same track with 2 separate series for two weekends this year. Huset's a couple weeks ago. Now they're turning around and doing it again at Eldora, right? Like this is an opportunity to grow the sport of racing, grow the sport of dirt car racing, get as many big names at the same track as possible. That's how you grow the sport. That's why I think it takes away from the product.
Yeah, I'm with you. And sometimes they try to schedule away from each other and against each other. And I'm with you on that. You know what's funny about that whole thing is before I think Fiedler was working with the Outlaws at the time, but he had brought up that the Outlaws late model Twitter account had tried to start up a little bit of that with the Lucas Dirt Twitter account. And they weren't, they didn't mention the Outlaws. They weren't having any of it. So it's kind of ironic looking at how we're looking at High Limit versus the Outlaw Sprint Car Series this season with if we're going to mention them, if we're going to engage in a Twitter rivalry per se or anything, similar to that. So I just like, it's so ironic. It's ridiculous.
Last one we got for you. We haven't mentioned it entirely yet, but earlier today, Knoxville announces $93,000 purse and a $15K to win 360 race on July 19th weekend. I said 16th. That's wrong. It's July 19th weekend. This event, now the added money, the added purse to win this race will draw big numbers in the 360 world. You in, you out.
I'm so in on this. This is the coolest thing that Knoxville has done to a weekly show this year. Let me call it what I need to call it here. The Randall Roofing 360 Knoxville Championship Series in the this is a 3M 360 shootout is what they're calling it. 15 grand to first, 10 grand to second, 7.5 to third, 6 to fourth, 5 to fifth, and down 1,000 going back in 2,000 to top 10, 1,000 to start. And there's some contingency money up for grabs too. That's to do this. And this is why I'm so in on this. And I wanted to give the sponsors there a shout out. We don't owe them anything, but I think it's really cool because it's on Kings Royal weekend. Those national teams that go out and, compete for big money are going to be at Eldora. They're going to be down the road in Ohio by 9 hours. And this gives your guys that have been competing all year in the 360 class at Knoxville a chance to win some big money on a night where the national guys aren't necessarily going to come in and steal it from any of the locals. So, there's going to be a couple guys. We've seen Aaron Reitzel in the past have a bad week at Eldora, and I think came back. Brian Brown has done the same, I believe, if my mind serves me correct. But you're still having a ton of guys there with an opportunity to earn bigger money than they otherwise would. So what Knoxville does for the 360 class, and the engine prices for that class need to change if it's going to be sustainable. But what Knoxville, they go the extra mile with the 360s, and it's really cool to see something like this out there for an opportunity.
All right, let's move on to our.
Sorry, that was long-winded as hell. I apologize.
That was a good analysis of it, Connor. Great job. All right, moving on to our hot question of the day. We'll put this out there on social media for everybody else to chime in as well. Would you like to see a quote-unquote in-season tournament for either side of the dirt car racing format, similar to what we've seen in the NASCAR Cup Series?
Oh, man. And I've thought about this, and I can't really, arrive on an answer. This is going to shock you. Neither my dad or I filled in a bracket this week or last week during the NASCAR thing. I knew it was there.
You could have filled it in, and it was going to be wrong.
I was going to pick Ty Dillon over Denny Hamlin, so get out of here with that.
Okay.
Just for the Twitter likes, probably, is what I would have done. But yeah, I just, ran out of time, kind of lost track of the week, and as far as filling out a NASCAR bracket goes. But I don't know. I don't think it would really raise my interest. I think it'd be unique. I think it'd be kind of cool. It really doesn't jump anything off the page for me. I hate the NBA, so I can't compare their in-season tournament. I wasn't going to watch that anyway, but those colorful courts were awful. But yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I'm not going to crap all over it if they do one ever. I wouldn't be opposed if we did one and picked 5 races or something like that, or picked 4 and did, the 16 guys that were guaranteed to be somewhere.
So
yeah,
here's the question came about, had a long drive back from vacation, and so I had
Where did you go? Because you keep just saying vacation, and I saw the Instagram videos. I couldn't tell.
I was in the Black Hills of South Dakota. We were out.
Oh, you did say that on the okay.
Yeah. So had a long drive home and a lot of quiet time on the drive home. So I had a lot of time to think about some things, and was listening to the NASCAR race Saturday night on the way home, and got to thinking about this as a question to bring, because the format, I think we can make it work. You take 5 or however many cars you want to put in there, however many cars your drivers you want to include, but split it. Let's say we're doing sprint cars. You have 16 or you have 8 World of Outlaw cars. You have 8 high limit cars.
Can I stop you? Hold on.
Okay.
I would get 4 races leading up to one where the high limit and outlaw guys are in a race together. Put high limit on one side, 16. World of Outlaws on the other, 16, and throw some open cars in there that you think are going to be at each one. That's what I would do. So
the way I had it brought up is I went with 8 just because it's a simple number to work with.
Yeah. And I'm going for inclusion here.
I get it. I get it.
You to exclude like a guy like Chase Randall, you're going to kick him out of the series just because he's not top 8 in points.
Yep. But here we go. So you take your top 8 in points out of each side, and the races leading into Knoxville to the Nationals weekend, because everybody's going to be at Nationals, right? Everybody from both high limit and outlaws are going to be at the Nationals weekend. And so you run them like you would, run it all the way down until you have your one outlaw runner and your one high limit runner. And however they finish at the end of Nationals week, that's where who is determined your in-season champion.
Would you put them at the front or back of the 4 wide with a high limit flag on one and a World of Outlaws flag on the other?
I think it'd be pretty badass.
Doesn't have to be the Saturday night 4 wide.
I think it'd be pretty badass. I didn't think about that, but I think I'd
put them there like Wednesday or Thursday and make sure they race on the same night. So
yeah, I was thinking you even do it on Saturday, because then it gives you another incentive to make the A. It's a hard race to make, but it's still another incentive for it.
Yeah, and I think here's my deal. I think there's already intrigue around the Nationals. I'd do it leading up to like the June World of Outlaws date, and then you have 2 chances in case it rains.
Yeah, you have that opportunity as well. I think.
Yeah, I think either way, if they ever did it like that, and I don't foresee the series, working together that much. But if they ever did it like that, I need the flags out there. That'd be a badass photo in front of the field.
I think for me though, I think I would have intrigue in it.
That's how we can award the trophy.
Right. See, I think I would have intrigue in it though. Like you sit here and say you don't necessarily think you'd have intrigue in it. It would give me as a fan something else to watch within the race.
I'd have more intrigue in that, especially with the trophy assigned and bragging rights, than I would. Because NASCAR, it's just like another guy's getting $1 million. Well, $1 million stopped being cool. Not saying it wasn't cool for sprint car racing. And that story was
$1 million, Connor. I got a lot of problems, and I think $1 million would fix 95% of them.
No, I get that, but seeing NASCAR guys chase $1 million, I'm like, you guys make this money, in like 7 races, or depending on which 7 you pick. That's not. It's been $1 million for however many All-Star races in a row. It's like, raise it, guys. Like, time to lift it a little bit. But yeah,
I get what you're saying. I think it would be cool for bragging rights purposes to see something like this. Gives another piece to this so-called rivalry, It gives another piece to this rivalry that they claim they have between high limit and outlaws. So
yeah, like I was saying, or like you were saying, that would give me a lot more intrigue than what the NASCAR one is.
Mm-hmm. The NASCAR one, I think, has more intrigue now that everybody that was supposed to be favorited crashed out. So
it's only 32, and no one had a perfect bracket. Is nuts. That's crazy to me.
Are you surprised?
No, yeah, I am, because I mean, there's perfect brackets after the round of 64 in the NCAA tournament, and I know those seeds are probably a little more clear, and it's not really a wild card first round, and it can be in some years, but it's not shocking when there's perfect brackets that still remain on Saturday. So yeah, you pick half the games or half the matchups, and still not a single person that entered it there. And I think NASCAR had. If Jeff Gluck is tweeting out that he can't find the link to the online bracket challenge, you screwed up. You're not putting the link in the right place. I'm sorry. That guy would have looked for it for 45 minutes before he posted that on social media. I guarantee he did.
Yeah. Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. We get it. So we're going to put that question out on social media. I'm curious to see what people have to say. We might visit some of our favorite.
You want me to tweet it now?
Yeah, tweet it out. Might as well. I'm curious to hear what some of our favorite responses to that hot question of the day would be. If we don't get a chance to discuss any today, we'll talk about them next week when we jump in on that. Leading into our next segment here in a second, before we move on, though, still looking for an opportunity to help us out here at ARD. Reach out to Connor. We'll get that opportunity for you, whether that is a show sponsor or you want to be a part of coverage for a single event, however you wish to see fit. With your business, please reach out. We will certainly hear and take that in. All right, moving into our weekend shining light. And a lot of people we could sit here and talk about for our weekend shining light, right? A lot of great drivers out there and a lot of great finishes. While you finish that up, I'll reach on to my shining light.
Go for it.
My shining light for this weekend will have to be Donnie Schatz's nieces, and I got to get their last name correct, so give me like 5 seconds here because I have to look at it. But Layla,
I just got to guess, and I think I would have gotten it wrong anyway.
Layla and Amelia Eisenshank, I believe.
That sounds right.
Right, and so Donnie Schatz's nieces ran up in North Dakota this weekend with the World of Outlaw Late Model Tour. Ran both nights that they ran in North Dakota, and both nights they made the A feature show. Not only did they make it, but they were well in the top, inside the top 24 for each night, which is really cool to see. Amelia finishing or qualifying 15th, starting 15th in the feature, finishing 17th. Layla starting 23rd, finishes 16th in the first night show. And then that was on the 28th. And then the next event they had as well on Sunday when they were running in Minot, they were able to finish back-to-back again with Amelia finishing 17th, Layla finishing 18th, both of them going +1. Racing in the Schatz family jeans. Pretty damn cool to see those two hop in, not only for their very first time in a World of Outlaw late model, but to go out, make both shows, and finish back-to-back. That's a pretty bright light for me.
Yeah, I love that. It's Donnie's nieces, and there's, two of them, obviously, and they're getting to do this and getting to do it in late model racing. And I assume that's where they wanted to go. I haven't talked to Donnie a ton about them, or neither of them yet.
I think they both ran some sprint cars at points in their time too.
I think you're right. But either way, with Donnie, casually running late model races at times, I think it'd be cool to see him run with them at some point. And I'm still waiting. It's like the Casey Kane National Tour sprint car victory and the Donnie Schatz National Tour late model victory. I'm throwing parties. Hopefully that night. Hopefully we're at a different racetrack and we can just celebrate it. But
hopefully you're at the same racetrack.
I know. I'm with you.
That would be even better.
If that was the case, it'd be a pretty big win, Damon.
That would be even better. Yeah, it'd be cool. But yeah, for me, that's a big shining light. We've heard about these two girls coming up for a long time, and now getting to see them on a national tour, that was pretty neat.
I'm with you there. So my shining light is going to be on Crew Chief of the Month for High Limit. It's a result-based award, so it just goes to the guy with the best finishes. But it's Tanner Thorson and Stevie Smith. Now Stevie is most of the time away from the track, and he's on the phone telling Tanner what to adjust, what adjustments to make. And some people, I don't want to say they're undercutting it, but they're questioning whether that should qualify you as a crew chief. I've watched guys call these people on the phone. I've watched them not know a single thing about what they need to do to the car. And those guys on the phone give you direction. They're doing just as much. If anything, the only thing they're not doing is actually wrenching on the car. And no one's ever needed the crew chief to wrench on the car. They need him to make the decisions, right? So I'm really, really proud of, I don't know if that's the right word, impressed with how well Tanner Thorson has done in the last month with High Limit. It seemed hard charger after hard charger, and now it's top 5 after top 10 after top 5. So that's my shining light as far as the national guys go.
Yeah, really cool. I guess underneath that umbrella, you could technically be considered a crew chief, though.
Yeah. Glenn calls me all the time, and he's like, "What the hell should I change?" And I'm like, "Check the air pressure in the tires. You forgot to last week." I'm just kidding.
Make sure to adjust the wing.
Right.
Funny. All right, what do we got coming up this weekend?
Yeah, so I have that right? Both main sprint car tours are off for the weekend.
I couldn't find anything.
I think you're correct because the Outlaws take a few days off, and then
Outlaws I know are off, and then I'm
PA Speed Week.
Sure.
Yeah, it's PA Speed Week. The rest of the week, at least for that event, and Larson was there the other night at Lincoln. That got delayed 5 minutes at the end. I'd like to see Lincoln qualify 2 cars. I hate when I'm not like trying to crap on Lincoln, but when your show's like 5 minutes from being done, when you get rain and you sat there and qualified 1 car at a time, like, man, come on, these guys are pros. They can figure it out. Also, that photo of Tyler Walker standing shirtless, like as close as you can be at sagging your pants in 2025, standing right next to Kyle Larson. That was one of the funnier visuals.
I saw that. And there was a side-by-side meme of the Tiger Woods and the John Daly photo, that in there. I saw that side by side with that photo. That was pretty funny.
That's phenomenal. And then we talked about the World of Outlaws late models and Lucas both in action. The Outlaws late models doing 3 nights for the Gopher 50 at Deer Creek. I believe it was 2 years ago. They had a photo finish involving Bobby Pierce and a hand out the window that was talked about around the late model world. Hopefully this event lives up to the hype again. And then Lucas is at Atomic on the 4th of July. And then they got the Freedom 60 on the 5th of July. So excited for that. And we'll be back at Knoxville on Saturday to catch that. Should be a good field of cars. It's getting closer and closer to nationals. So if you're off, I'm guessing we're going to see some High Limit. We're going to see some World of Outlaws guys over there. And
question to bring up, though, since both series are off, do you expect to see a large amount of those guys there this weekend?
Yeah, 1,000%. Some guys will take vacations.
Do you know guys that are going to be there this weekend?
No, I try not to do a ton of my prep work by hammering in on who's going to be there. Because for a fan, like if your favorite guy is going to be there or not, I get that's a thing, but it takes so long to track down each of these guys. I could text some of them and just be like, where are you going? And put a list together. It's just time consuming, right? So and some guys honestly get back to you and they're like, I'm not sure yet. I'm not really sure. Ayrton Jeniton gets back to you and he's like, well, if Power Eye wasn't running, then sure, Connor, I'd take my little team up there to Knoxville. I'm just kidding. I just want to throw a shot there just for no reason.
I'm sure you did. Well, I'm guessing too with a lot of this, it also depends on where they go next as well, right? Like it would make sense for some of the Outlaw guys to go to Knoxville because they run the next week in Minnesota and Wisconsin and that area.
Yeah, and it's like the 2 World of Outlaws weekends at Knoxville. What's High Limit do? They take it off because all their guys want laps at Knoxville. So some guys are going to say like we're running really well. I don't think we need to go down there. Let's take the weekend off, stay at the families. And some guys are going to be racers. And I'm not trying to, that sounded like I'm shunning the other side. Some guys are going to choose to go down and get some extra laps at Knoxville. Some guys are going to go to PA Speed Week. And it's going to be a healthy mix. So we'll get more too as the week goes on. It's just Tuesday, and I didn't want to spend my morning texting guys, are you going to be? I try not to do that. It's just too much time, honestly. So
no doubt.
Moves too fast these days. I'm getting old.
Well, somebody's got to get old, because I sure as heck aren't.
Okay. Hey, that's awesome. That's the first positive we've had of any of the 20-ish year old or in your 20s guys that surround Always Race Day. Everyone's been complaining, so thank you, Damon's keeping us young.
We got to be positive here, man. There's too much negativity. We got to be positive about this.
I'm with you.
So, who do you got? Who's your weekend driver to watch? I know we only have a couple of big Premier Series running this weekend, but kind of pick a driver from each series that you're expecting to have a big night or a big weekend.
I hate this question because I can just pick any of the 17 we talked about during the show. And that's like actually like I could pick like who I'd want to see have like a Gio Scelzi. He's due for a good weekend. Let's do that. We'll do that Cubs fandom shit. If you strike out 17 times in a row with a 310 batting average, you're definitely due to hit a home run sometime soon. So we'll take Gio on that side. Who should we go for? Give me 30 seconds. You say your guys, and I'll give my late model pick.
Well, I think for me on the late model side, it's a guy that we did talk about, Tim McCready, right? Win for him. I think that's a good one to look at. Big opportunity, 3 nights at a racetrack, and you got T-Mac with an opportunity to pick up some momentum, pick up some wins, really get the ball rolling for him. And on the Lucas Oil late model side, I would say probably it's gonna be a pretty easy pick, but I would say for RTJ, what does he have to bring to the table? Because we've seen Jonathan Davenport run really well here in the last few weeks. One, I think last weekend or 2 weeks ago, and he's continuing to win and win and win. So where's the answer coming from the 20 RT?
All right. So on the same vein, and I'll go 2 Outlaws guys because I want to wait. I think Lucas is the intensity is going to pick up when these points reset and getting into all those. I'm going to go Drake Troutman, having a phenomenal rookie year with those guys. Since you're going to pick RTJ, I have to put the 32 out there. That's just, I got to do it. Like you gave me one guy against the field in the high limit series. So for the weekend, I'll take Bobby Pierce winning the race.
3 nights. So 3 nights at Deer Creek. Does Bobby Pierce win all 3?
Now you're putting me in a corner like
I'm curious. Now you don't even have to answer the question.
This is vintage Damon. Like Connor gives the most PC, respectful answer, and I could go full villain and just say the 32 sweeps the weekend. Don't even turn it on. I'm not saying that.
This is what we're about, Connor. This is what the people want.
You know what, Bobby? If you want to make a statement to Hoffman, you got to go out and sweep the weekend. There you go. Once he listens to this, I'll let you guys know what he says. That's the challenge out there. Make sure the broom's in the holler and go get the job done.
It would be interesting to see him sweep the weekend. I think that makes for just as big of a story as somebody else going out and winning a couple of races out there. So exciting weekend and lots to look forward to.
Absolutely. We'll be down at Knoxville Saturday, and exciting month coming up. IndyCar the weekend after. And then that 360 show at Knoxville and that national TV Joker's Jackpot that week at Eldora. So the weekends till nationals are dwindling and dwindling. So best time of year. One more time, we're on Patreon. We're still kind of working out what we're gonna put on there. If you want to give us suggestions of what you guys would want to see on different things where we can put behind paid tiers, obviously, give us those and we'll definitely look into it. Don't want to rip anybody off. It's mostly to support the site. And there is a chance we do something sort of like, you donate $5 minimum and you'll be on the premium like news rumor board and all that stuff. So we're still looking at that. I promise I will make some progress on that this week and hopefully have a concrete answer for what we can include in that next week. And yeah, one more time, if you're interested to sponsor the show, hit me up. But that's all I got. Damon, you got anything?
All excited for a busy weekend, and happy 4th of July to everybody. Celebrate safe, and if you have 10 fingers, let's finish the weekend with 10.
Absolutely. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Appreciate you all. This has been the Always Race Day podcast.